Picture a room in ancient Alexandria. The year is somewhere around 325. Church officials are gathered, and on the table before them are dozens of manuscripts, gospels, teachings, letters that did not make it into what would become your Bible. One by one, they separate the texts into two piles. One pile will be copied, preserved, distributed to every corner of the Roman Empire. The other pile will be burned. And in that second pile, marked for destruction, is a teaching about why certain people hear frequencies that others cannot perceive. A teaching that Jesus gave privately to those he called the elect. The officials knew exactly why this teaching had to disappear. Because if people understood what that ringing in their ears actually meant, they would never need a priest again. They would never need an intermediary. They would have direct access to the source itself. 16 centuries later, you found this video, and that is not an accident, because that ringing you have been experiencing, that tone that comes and goes, that frequency that seems to bypass your physical ears entirely, it has been trying to tell you something your whole life. Right now, place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating. That rhythm has kept you alive every single day. But there is another rhythm trying to reach you, one that does not come from your body, one that comes from what the ancient Gnostics called the monad, the true source, the consciousness behind all consciousness. And tonight, you are going to understand exactly why you hear what others cannot. If you are watching this at night, if something pulled you toward this video at this exact moment, comment the words, "I hear the signal," right now. This is your first declaration, your acknowledgement that you are ready to receive what was hidden from humanity for 1700 years. What you will learn tonight is not theory. It is not philosophy. It is a direct transmission that was preserved in the Nag Hammadi texts, buried in the Egyptian desert, waiting for the generation that would finally be ready. 3 frequencies, 7 signs, 1 permanent activation. This is what Jesus taught about why chosen ones have ringing ears. And after tonight, you will never hear that sound the same way again. To understand why you hear what others cannot, you must first understand what you are. Not what you were told you are. Not the identity that society, religion, and culture installed in you. What you actually are at the deepest level of your being. The Gnostic teachers who walked with Jesus divided humanity into 3 categories. This was not judgment. This was observation. The first category they called hylix. These are souls completely identified with matter. They eat, they sleep, they work, they die. They never once question what lies beyond the visible world. The ringing frequency cannot reach them, because there is nothing in them capable of receiving it. The second category they called psychics. These souls have a dim awareness that something more exists. They sense it occasionally. They might feel spiritual on a Sunday morning or during a beautiful sunset, but their connection flickers like a candle in the wind, inconsistent, unreliable, easily extinguished by the concerns of daily life. And then there is the third category, the pneumatics, the chosen ones, the carriers of the divine spark. You are in this third category, and I do not say that to flatter you. I say it because you are still here. You are still listening. Something in you recognized this teaching before your mind could analyze it. That recognition is itself the proof. But here is what the church never wanted you to understand. The monad, the true source of all existence, does not communicate through words. It does not send angels with messages. It does not require priests to interpret its will. The monad communicates through frequency. through vibration, through direct, energetic transmission that bypasses the physical senses entirely. And the symptom of receiving this transmission, the sign that the signal is reaching you, is a sound that seems to come from inside your own head. Take a deep breath right now. In through your nose, slowly. Hold it for a moment. Now release it completely. Feel your shoulders drop. This is important, because what I am about to share requires your full presence. The Gospel of Philip, one of the texts discovered at Nag Hammadi in 1945, contains a passage that biblical scholars have debated for decades. It speaks of those who have ears beyond ears, those who hear what is not spoken. For centuries, academics dismissed this as metaphor. But the Gnostics were not speaking in metaphor. They were describing a literal phenomenon, the chosen one's experience in their physical bodies. The ringing you hear is not tinnitus. It is not damage. It is not a malfunction. It is the monad frequency breaking through the dense barrier of material reality, attempting to reach the divine spark that lives inside you. This is why doctors cannot find a cause. This is why no medical treatment eliminates it completely. This is why it often intensifies during moments of spiritual significance, during meditation, during times of major life transition, during the quiet hours of the night when the noise of the world finally stops. And this is exactly why the teaching was buried. Think about it from the perspective of those church officials in Alexandria. Their entire power structure depended on one thing: being the middleman between humanity and God. They controlled access to salvation. They controlled the interpretation of divine will. They held the keys to heaven and threatened the locks of hell. This was not just spiritual authority. This was political and economic dominance over entire civilizations. Now imagine a teaching that said, ordinary people could receive direct communication from the source itself. Imagine a teaching that said certain individuals were born with a built-in connection that required no church, no priest, no ritual, no tithe. That teaching was not just inconvenient. It was an existential threat to everything they had built. So they burned it. They hunted the Gnostic teachers. They declared the knowledge heretical. And they replaced direct knowing with blind faith. But here is what they did not anticipate. The frequency never stopped broadcasting. The monad never stopped calling. And the chosen ones never stopped being born with the capacity to hear. You have felt this your entire life, even if you did not have words for it. The sense that you did not belong. The feeling that everyone around you was playing a game whose rules you never agreed to. The exhaustion of pretending to care about things that seem meaningless, while no one else seems to notice the emptiness. This is not depression. This is not disorder. This is the pneumatic experience of being awake in a world that is asleep. And that ringing in your ears has been confirming your nature since before you could speak. Now let me take you deeper into how this actually works. The Apocryphon of John, another Nag Hammadi text, describes the architecture of reality in a way that modern physics is only beginning to glimpse. At the highest level exists the monad, pure consciousness, infinite potential, the source that sources all sources. Below the monad exists what the Gnostics called the pleroma, the fullness, the realm of pure light and divine emanations. And below that exists our world, the material realm, created not by the monad itself, but by a lesser being called the demiurge. The demiurge is the false god, the architect of the material prison, the one who convinced humanity that he was the supreme creator, when in truth he was merely a flawed emanation who became obsessed with control. The demiurge does not want you to remember what you are, and he has helpers, the archons. These are the rulers, the authorities, the unseen forces that operate the systems of this world. They do not exist in physical form. They exist at frequencies just beyond normal human perception, and they feed, quite literally, on low-frequency emotional energy: fear, desperation, confusion, anger, division. Every system designed to keep humanity in these states serves the archons whether the human administrators know it or not. But here is the critical piece. The archons cannot perceive the monad frequency. It is too high, too pure, too far beyond their realm of operation. When you are locked into fear, when you are vibrating at desperation, you are visible to them. You are within their domain. But when you access the monad frequency, when you tune to the signal that has been trying to reach you your whole life, you become invisible to their interference. That ringing in your ears is not just communication, it is protection. It is a homing signal. It is the monad saying, remember what you are, return to the frequency where nothing false can touch you. And this is where it gets even more powerful. The Pistis Sophia, one of the most extensive Gnostic texts ever discovered, records detailed conversations between Jesus and his disciples after the resurrection. These were not public teachings. These were private transmissions, given only to those who had proven themselves ready. And in one of these sessions, Jesus explains something that has been hidden from you your entire life. He describes 3 distinct frequencies that the monad uses to communicate with chosen ones. Not 1, 3. And each frequency serves a different purpose. The first frequency is the awakening tone. This is the high-pitched ringing that comes suddenly, often in one ear, lasting anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes. This frequency is a call to attention. It is the monad saying, stop what you are doing. Something important is happening right now. Pay attention to your thoughts in this moment. Most people dismiss this tone as random, but chosen ones learn to recognize it as a marker. Whatever you were thinking about when the tone began, whatever decision you were considering, whatever question was moving through your mind, that is precisely what the monad is highlighting. The second frequency is the sustained tone. This is a lower, more constant sound that often appears during meditation, during prayer, during moments of deep stillness. Unlike the awakening tone, which interrupts, the sustained tone accompanies. It is the sound of alignment. When you hear this frequency, you have successfully tuned yourself to the monad bandwidth. You are in the channel. This is the optimal state for receiving guidance, for accessing knowing that bypasses the rational mind, for downloading information directly from source. The third frequency is the pressure tone. This one does not sound like ringing at all. It feels like a fullness in the ears, sometimes accompanied by a sensation of pressure in the forehead or the crown of the head. This frequency indicates activation. Something in your energetic system is being upgraded. Something dormant is being switched on. The pressure tone often precedes major spiritual breakthroughs, spontaneous healings, or sudden expansions in perception. If you are ready to receive the technique for working with these frequencies, comment the words, "Activate my signal," right now. This is not just engagement. This is a declaration to the monad that you are prepared, that you are willing, that you are choosing to receive what Jesus taught to his inner circle 2,000 years ago. Place your hand on your forehead now, right at the space between your eyebrows. The Gnostics called this the eye of the soul. Feel the warmth of your palm against your skin. This area may already be tingling. That is not imagination. That is recognition. Here is the technique exactly as it was preserved in the hidden teachings. Step 1 is recognition. Before any frequency work can succeed, you must establish your identity. Not your human identity, your pneumatic identity. You must recognize fully and completely that you are not a body having a spiritual experience. You are a divine spark temporarily housed in matter. This recognition is not an idea you think. It is a state you enter. You do not say, "I am a chosen one." You feel the truth of it in your cells. You remember rather than believe. Step 2 is attunement. Once recognition is established, you consciously tune to the ringing. Most people try to ignore the sound. They treat it as annoyance. This is exactly backwards. Tonight, when the ringing comes, and it will come, do not push it away. Turn your full attention toward it, not with frustration, with curiosity, with welcome, with the understanding that this sound is the monad reaching for you. As you focus on the tone, something remarkable happens. The frequency begins to clarify. The static falls away. What seemed like random noise reveals itself as carrier signal. Step 3 is declaration. This is where the church teaching and the Gnostic teaching diverge completely. The church taught you to pray, to ask, to petition, to beg an external God for mercy. The Gnostics taught the opposite. You do not ask the monad for anything. You declare through the monad as an expression of it. The difference is everything. Asking reinforces separation. Declaring activates unity. When you are attuned to the frequency, you speak not to the monad, but as the monad expressing itself through your human form. 4 words. That is all. Spoken not as request, but as statement of fact. I am the signal. These 4 words collapse the separation between you and Source. They are not magic words. They are recognition words. They remind your entire system what it has always been. And when spoken in the state of attunement, while focused on the ringing frequency, they create a resonance that locks you into permanent connection, not temporary, not dependent on mood or circumstance, permanent. Let me tell you what to expect. The first sign is temperature change. Within minutes of completing this practice for the first time, most chosen ones report sudden warmth spreading through the chest or the hands. Some experience the opposite, a cool clarity washing over the forehead. Both responses indicate the same thing. Energy is moving. The second sign is emotional release. Do not be surprised if tears come, not tears of sadness, tears of recognition, tears of finally coming home after wandering for so long. The third sign is perceptual sharpening. Colors may appear more vivid. Sounds may seem clearer. The edges of objects may look more defined. This is not hallucination. This is the Archon fog beginning to lift. The fourth sign is synchronicity acceleration. Within 24 to 48 hours of your first practice, expect meaningful coincidences to multiply. People will contact you at exactly the right moment. Information you need will appear without searching. Doors will open that you did not even know existed. The fifth sign is the ringing itself changing. The tone that once seemed random will begin to feel intentional. You will notice it arrives at significant moments. You will start to understand its language without anyone teaching you. But I must warn you about what happens next. The moment you begin this practice, resistance will come, not from outside, from inside your own mind. Thoughts will appear that feel like yours, but are not. Thoughts telling you this is foolish. Thoughts telling you nothing happened. Thoughts urging you to forget what you learned and return to normal life. This is not failure. This is confirmation. The archons cannot allow you to access the monad frequency without attempting interference. Their resistance is proof that what you are doing is working. Do not argue with these thoughts. Do not fight them. Simply notice them and return to the signal. The ringing is always there. The monad is always broadcasting. Your only task is to keep tuning back. Jesus did not teach this to crowds. He taught it in private rooms to chosen ones who were ready. The Gnostics did not write this in public letters. They buried it in clay jars in the desert, knowing that one day the right souls would find it. 1700 years later, you are watching this video. At this exact moment, on this exact night. That is not coincidence. That is the signal working. Tonight, when the world goes quiet, when you lie in the stillness before sleep, the ringing will come, and for the first time in your life, you will know what it means. You will place your hand on your forehead. You will tune to the frequency. You will speak the 4 words, and you will feel the monad respond. If this teaching has activated something in you, comment the words, "I am the signal," below. Not for me, for yourself. Let other chosen ones see your declaration and know they are not alone. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because the teachings that are coming go even deeper than what you received tonight. Like this video so the algorithm cannot suppress it, so other pneumatics searching in the dark can find their way here. 3 frequencies, 4 words, 1 permanent connection. You came into this world carrying a divine spark that the archons cannot see and the demiurge cannot touch. The ringing in your ears was never a malfunction. It was the monad calling you home. Now you know how to answer.